Hello, my name is Ken Chung. I'm Technical Product Manager here at Uptime Software. Today what I'll be doing is demonstrating our integration of our products, Uptime 5, with the VMware Orchestrator Automation facility. So first, to set the stage for this video, basically Uptime is an IT systems monitoring tool. It has the capability to give visibility across heterogeneous environments, applications, and of course into the virtual infrastructure stack as well. So what we're going to do is show how, from Uptime, we can fire Orchestrator workflows in response to application conditions that our software is going to detect. And we're also going to show how we can couple that response, or actually use Uptime verbs through our Uptime package in Orchestrator to actually enable visibility of that new virtual infrastructure as it's spun up. In addition, at the end, what we'll do is a complex example which will show the auto-scaling of an e-commerce tier, where the Apache front end will be allocated in response to a high number of users, and we'll also show how Orchestrator could be used to automatically deprovision that cloned VM as well. So first, let's just, for those of you who haven't seen Uptime before, just do a quick high-level overview. Uptime is a powerful systems management tool that allows us to organize our infrastructure and get visibility with instant color-coded statuses of what we call elements. Elements can be anything from a service metric, performance metric, or an application status metric, where an application is obviously an aggregation of the statuses of your hardware, of your servers, of your application platforms, and your network tier as well. You see that Uptime organizes everything in a distinct schema. Here we have groups, and here we have views. Groups allow us to have a strict taxonomy of elements. So as I drill down here, we can see things have been organized by line of business. And as we actually go down and drill down, we can see that all of that reaggregates. Now, why is this important? Obviously, when we're going to show the VMware integration piece, we're going to show that not only are we going to provision virtual infrastructure in response to a condition, we're going to show that we can close the loop and actually file that new infrastructure visibly into the hierarchy for administrative staff to have visibility over that as well. So the first thing we're going to do is show you how we've hooked into the Orchestrator server. Now with Uptime, everything is designed to be a minimal number of clicks. So of course, under the Config tab, to easily configure the Orchestrator integration or connection, what you would do is click on, let me just pull up the correct instance here. I'll pull up my nightly build. What you do is you actually click on the Config tab, click on the VMware vCenter Orchestrator configuration panel, and from there, it's a very set and forget kind of config. So immediately enabling the Orchestrator interface, setting the target IP address, target port, as well as whether you're going to be using SSL for secure communication with the Orchestrator server. And of course, you need to provide credentials in order to interact with that Orchestrator API. Now, we're very customer focused or client focused or user experience focused, so being able to test that configuration and ensure that that link is actually enabled and ensure that the connection is good is very important to us and is appreciated by our end users. So there you can see I've hit test configuration, and immediately we can see that the server connection was successful. So what capability does this actually give us? Well, from a monitoring perspective, Uptime allows us to define what are called plugins. And plugins give us deep platform metrics. In this case, you can get performance metrics. Here we can see we can get operating system metrics as well as authentication service metrics, database tier metrics, application tier again, WebLogic, Exchange, so on and so forth, all of your network services, as well as a bunch of custom monitors for custom applications, and a wide variety of plugins available on the internet from our portal. Now, the beauty about all of these plugins and all of the metrics, you can either react to all of them on an aggregate basis or on a single basis based on a threshold that you were to set. So if we were to actually look at, say, the Apache status monitor, which is going to be relevant to our example later, what you can see is that through that monitoring, you can set thresholds on any of the KPI that drive the application performance. So the end user experience, certainly if the total number of accesses or the CPU load load incurred by the HTTP daemon are going off of a threshold, we may want to do some automated orchestration to ensure that that application web tier is going to be scaled appropriately. And that's where uptime's automated actions, escalating alerts and automated actions come into play. We can define the monitoring period, and we can define what alert profile should be used to respond to that in terms of escalating the notifications. But where we start to hook into Orchestrator is when we talk about uptime's action profile. Uptime's action profiles actually allow us to run automated actions, including Orchestrator workflows in our next release, in response to a detected problem. So first, to set the stage, let's talk about the alert profile to give you some context. So an alert profile is really who should get an alert, what should be in that alert, and how should the alert be delivered. So what should be in the alert is configurable with a large number of variables. Here you can see that are context sensitive, and these variables can be used in Orchestrator workflows. So we'll show you that when we get to the action profile. Who should get that alert? Obviously the list of people who should be getting that, and then how should that alert be delivered? Here we can see we can deliver all the traditional methods, email, pager, as well as Windows pop-up alert. For when your email systems are down, we have the ability to hook into your IVR through our scripted alert, or into your SMS pager, SMS modem to notify pagers and cell phones. But as I was saying, where the real magic happens with respect to the Orchestrator integration is under the action profile. What we see here is when I load the action profile, not only am I able to execute a bunch of recovery actions directly to the servers or interact with other enterprise systems for management via SNMP, what I can actually do is call VMware Orchestrator workflows dynamically from the server itself. So if I actually go ahead and type in VMware, or if I type in clone VM, for instance, I immediately am able to access the Orchestrator workflow that is already available, and I can hit this get parameter button and will dynamically interrogate the server to get me the list of variables and settings that I can set for that particular workflow. Now this is dynamically loaded. For instance, if I actually go into the Orchestrator client, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, and go ahead and create a new workflow, and we'll call that VMware Rocks, we will see that that workflow, even though it's just a skeleton with no schema, becomes immediately available to the uptime system. So again, if I go in and create an, not an alert profile, if I go in and create an action profile, we will see that that is now immediately available. So if I type in VMware Rocks, we can see that that's available, that I can get the parameters, and of course in this case this has no parameters. So very neatly done to have a minimum number of clicks to allow us to access any workflow in response to something that might be detected within uptime. Now, where the beauty of this integration starts to really come out is not only from this perspective, but understanding that this is a fire and forget scenario. Now, we're very cognizant that the amount of power that we've unlocked through the amazing technology of Orchestrator is pretty much infinite. But it also opens up the issue of, well, let's say we were to change this workflow and actually use a clone VM. Well, that's great because we may be able to increase the capacity of a tier or make more compute available